Hey guys, and welcome back to Battlefront Updates. In this video I wanted to discuss something that is one of the most discussed questions in the community right now. What is the next season for Battlefront 2 going to be about? And we don't have any official word on this, and we also don't really have any proof that indicates what it might contain. So most of the stuff in this video is going to be pure speculation, although we do have a couple of facts that I want to bring up that might give us a hint at least towards what we can expect. So the first question is probably, when can we expect the next season, and when can we expect them to communicate about it? The last game had DLCs with around 3 months in between each. But in this game, since we have these seasons instead, I think we can expect a bit of a different gap. Because the actual Last Jedi season started on the 5th of December, and I think it will probably last until at least the first or second week in January. And at that point, I don't think we will have to wait 3 months for the next season, because since the seasons kind of spread out the content, we won't have to wait for as long for the next season, which I think is good. Sure, the main big drop of content might still have roughly 2 or 3 months in between, but we'll still have more frequent patches and the actual challenges and factions and such connected to the seasons, which makes the game feel more alive compared to just having silence for 3 months. So my honest guess is that they might start communicating about the next season probably in the middle of January or something like that, just after the Last Jedi season ends. And then the next season might start somewhere in late February or early March, maybe even earlier than that if we're lucky. But I don't think the gap from the end of the Last Jedi season to the start of the next season will be more than 1 or potentially 2 months. Because I think it's very important for DICE to show that they're really committing to this live service model and that they are constantly going to give us updates at the same rate that they have given us so far, with fairly frequent patches and content drops. So what can we actually expect from the season? Well, I think we can only speculate at this point. The only ounce of proof that we really have are the things found in the data mining, which is General Grievous model as well as clone customization. So that obviously hints towards the next season being some type of Clone Wars season. And I think that's very likely because we don't really have a lot more to explore, neither in the original trilogy or the sequel trilogy, and everyone obviously wants Clone Wars. Sure, there might be some extra drops with original trilogy or sequel trilogy content, but I don't think they will dedicate an entire season to that, because I'm honestly not even sure what they could title that. The Last Jedi Season 2 or revival of the original trilogy, I just don't think that fits. Even if they sprinkle out some content from those eras that we want, I don't think an entire season will be dedicated to it. But I could obviously be wrong. So if we are indeed getting the customization system and Grievous model, I would also guess that we might get Obi-Wan, because I feel like Obi-Wan and Grievous kind of go hand in hand. So maybe it could just be a generic Clone Wars season. It could also be specific to a map, like a lot of people have speculated that it could be Utapau for Grievous and Obi-Wan, and then maybe something like Geonosis for Anakin and Dooku. None of those heroes are confirmed, but Dennis did go out a few months ago on Reddit and say that the inclusion of one hero does not exclude another hero, because a lot of people were saying that Anakin wouldn't be coming to the game because of Darth Vader. So I think we will get all of those heroes at some point in the lifespan of this game, but when we're getting them is another question. But obviously it's very likely that Grievous will be one of the first heroes, because of the simple fact that they have found models of him in the files. The possibilities of Clone Wars content is really endless, to be honest, because there's so much they can pick from. Even when they're done with all the main characters from the movies, there's tons of characters that people want from the animated Clone Wars series as well. And one idea I had in general for the seasons would be that they might not always be themed toward one specific event or map, because of the fact that they might want to add stuff from all eras. Because some things that I think would be nice to get both from the sequel trilogy and original trilogy are guards. I mean, we've already seen the Alderaan Honor Guards in the files, and I would love to get some Royal Guards, some Praetorian Guards, and things like that. So I could totally see some seasons being more kind of generic, where we will get some sprinkles from everything, and then some other seasons that will be focused solely on one era and on one map. Because otherwise some people might be confused or complain if we get a let's say, Geonosis season, and then they drop some Praetorian Guards with that. Or another option is that they drop some of those kind of extra things in between the seasons, because at that point they can obviously drop whatever they want. We will be really happy with some extra content, and it won't be locked to a particular season. Another thing I wanted to briefly mention is the whole thing about factions. I hope this is something they will keep, because although it does not have a major gameplay effect, it's only the challenges and the rewards you can get from that, it still really got the community going. When The Last Jedi season launched, there was so much discussion and memes and kind of rivalry between the different parts of the community regarding the Resistance and the First Order. And I honestly don't really see any negative part to this at all, because as you saw from the rewards I talked about a few days ago, both sides still get rewards. The winning side will get slightly more, as in an epic card instead of a blue one, but you're still gonna get rewards on both sides, especially from just completing the challenges in general. So I hope they will have something similar for future seasons, because obviously there's always two sides in Star Wars, so I don't see it being any issue having Republic versus Separatists, Jedi versus Sith, and so on. I think it would always work nice in the game. And lastly, one more thing I wanted to also bring up regarding the seasons and my guesses for it. And lastly, one more thing I wanted to talk about regarding the seasons is that I don't think we should expect it to be just like The Last Jedi season, because Dennis was very clear in my interview with him that they wanted to try some interesting stuff, and that we shouldn't expect to just get the same things all over again, such as another Galactic Assault map, 2 more heroes. But he said that he wanted us to suggest things that we might never think would actually happen in the game, and this makes me very confident that they might go out and create something crazy, like a game mode that has nothing to do with Galactic Assault. And I can't come up with any specifics, but just look at all the things available in Star Wars, whether it's massive animals such as Rancors or speeder bikes racing through Endor. Some game modes they can create don't require too much work, because one thing that I thought was so fun on Endor was going around with 2-man speeder bikes, but it's so limited. It's 1 out of 12 maps, and even when you're there, it's 1 out of 3 phases. So I would love to have a dedicated speeder bike mode. It doesn't have to be some super advanced map that they need to develop from scratch, but they could reuse assets from other maps. I basically just want a mode where I can freely go around with a speeder bike, maybe with a friend on the back of the speeder bike, and then battle other speeder bikes. Those are the kind of things that I could totally see coming to the game, and that it won't just be the same things over and over like the last game's post-launch was. But that brings this video to an end. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, may the Force be with you.